Lincoln at 48th and O.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Adam Carriker Show. Jake, as always, there's nothing to talk about. What are we going to talk about? Nothing? Anything?
Maybe a few things. A few rumblings going around still.
A few rumblings. A couple of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a big portal weekend. The portal actually closes today. It doesn't really mean anything, though, does it, Jake? Like, does it mean anything the portal closes?
Well, it means you're not supposed to jump in the portal afterwards, or you shouldn't. I don't know. There might be a few that get by.
You probably still can because rules don't actually apply in college football anymore. The national title game, to be clear, if you're in the national title game, you get an extra 5 days after Monday is over to enter the portal. Everyone else is supposed to be into the portal today. Nebraska's got some big-time portal visitors this weekend, especially along the defensive line, I should say. Got a couple of guys. Terrence Green, who's visited multiple schools recently, including Cal, Alabama, or has and or will be, including Nebraska. Boston College transfer Owen Stoudemire, who admittedly I'm not as familiar with. All right. Going to be a senior, 6'1", 292. We have brought in a couple of guys on the defensive line. I don't know that we've brought in the run stuffer that we need just yet, which is what they're working on. Also, a high school player, 4-star. I mentioned him a couple times, who's looking at Nebraska as well. It's tough to depend on if he ends up committing here. He's narrowed it down to his final 4 schools, but even if he does come, it's hard to depend on a true freshman to come in right away, especially in the trenches. It's tough to do it. Probably most difficult in the trenches, I would say. Coming and depend on him to contribute right away, but we're going after a running back. We're going after a defensive tackle. They're trying to add to that 2026 recruiting class. If and when they do commit, we can talk about it more. But the guys that we do know are committing are coming in this weekend, I should say. Terrence Green, Oregon, 330 pounds, 4-star out of high school. This would be a guy you're bringing in to stop the run. You look at another player, Owen Stoudemire, who's a little bit more of a veteran-type player, a little bit more experience behind him, defensive tackle. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how this all plays out. As we sit right here, right now, we have 16 portal commits. Obviously, we're going to give some updates on Mike Eckler here throughout the show as well. We got some clips, not as many as yesterday. We tried to set the new record. 6 was the record. We got through 6 in the last segment. Couldn't get to the 7th.
Records are tough to break.
Yeah, they exist for a reason. 4 today. 4 is what I said. Is that what I said to you earlier? Not even going to come close to the record. But that's okay. I do think they're good clips. A lot of them have to do with college football and going to 9,422 teams in the playoff. Is that roughly the right number? Is that close?
I think that's what the Big Ten wants. I think that was the most recent.
Why do you think the Big Ten wants more playoff teams than the SEC? That is what surprises me. The more teams we have in the playoff, the more the SEC is going to get their teams in because that's just what happens. So why is it the Big Ten that wants more?
Well, I think heading into this year, I think in general, I think they're worried about the SEC bias. If you do top 16, how many of those SEC teams are going to get the nod over, even this year? Like you see USC, Michigan at like 18, 19, 20. I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but that's my read is they're worried about SEC bias.
So, okay, I had not thought of it that way. So what you're saying is if you do 16, SEC teams tend to be rated higher, even if they have the same record as Big Ten teams. So you're going to get more. So you actually get more Big Ten teams in with this logic, which actually makes a lot of sense. I hadn't even thought of it that way. I was just like, why do they want more teams? I don't get it. You're just going to get more SEC teams in. To your point, there's more SEC teams rated in the top 12 to 15 bias because we don't pay attention to what happened on the field the past few years. But if you go 16 through 24, there's more Big Ten teams in there, like Michigan would have been in, USC would have been in. That's a great point. I had not thought of that. You think that's the
Iowa
reason?
Would have been in? I don't know. I mean, that's an outside. I don't know. I don't know why anybody. It's kind of tough for me who sits here and pounds on the table and says I want 2 teams. I love the BCS era. Now my conference that I reside in wants 24 teams.
That's a great point, though, because Vandy was only a spot or 2 away from getting in. In fact, they were trying to schedule games on championship weekend. Didn't they reach out to like Miami? Who else did they reach out to? We talked about it here. They couldn't get the game, but they were trying to get in. They were only 1 or 2 spots out. I think it was Texas and then them. Well, Notre Dame, Texas and then them. Who could forget Notre Dame? But Iowa was like 7, 8 slots down. By the way, who won the bowl game when they played? Iowa. Bowl games don't matter, Jake. You know why? Because the SEC keeps losing, so we don't pay attention to them. That's what we're told.
Did you see I'm really entertained. Have you seen like the Notre Dame? They've got like some sort of film that they're doing with the team, and they they had it like come on and show like Marcus Freeman and the whole team watching as they weren't selected. Then he gets up in front of the crowd and he goes, "Guys, usually if there's something like this, there's at least a reason for it. I'm sorry that we don't have a reason today." And I'm just raising my hand, watching like, you lost to Miami.
I have not seen that.
You got to watch it because it's like, because they play dramatic music behind it. There's this whole speech of like, kind of like we got screwed. And I don't know. There's no reason. I don't know how to explain this away. Just like, well, head to head. That's how. You guys remember how you started the season?
So I've not seen the video. Well, I did. I almost sent it to you and I decided not to. There is the video of Marcus Freeman talking about how proud he is of his captains for choosing not to play in the playoff game.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah.
I about sent that to you, and I'm like, no, I'm not giving this any airtime. He's proud that they chose not to play in the bowl game, even though everybody else who was slightly on the outside, Vanderbilt, Texas, BYU, unfortunately, Utah, chose to play in a bowl game. But here's why you didn't get in. Because you're not in a conference, because you played a weak schedule after your first 2 games when you started 0-2, and literally everybody across the country said Notre Dame's going to win their next 10 because they're weak games. The only team that could even threaten them was USC. They could even threaten them, and then they're going to want in the playoff, which is it was very predictable, which is exactly what happened. But because you're not in a conference, and for the first time in that school's history, they suffered a consequence for not being in a conference. Oh, and to Jake's point, you lost on the field to a team that's going to play for a national title on Monday who beat you head-to-head. Should Notre Dame always be disqualified because they'll never be a conference champion? That's just how angry I am that they're not in the conference. They should never, they can't win a conference championship, so they should never be in.
Well, conference champions don't matter all that much anymore either.
I know. You weren't supposed to point that out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got a lot to talk about. Good show today. We'll have some fun. That makes more sense about the Big Ten wanting to go to 24. That makes a lot more sense. Because, again, Iowa was way below Vandy, not even in the conversation, in my opinion, and they shouldn't have been. 3-4 losses? Those teams should not be in the playoff. You're just going to take the regular season out back and put it to sleep like what happened to my favorite movie when I was growing up, Old Yeller. That poor dog. I was so sad.
I mean, but realistically, 2014 playoff, that kills the regular season.
It does.
I mean, what are we talking about here?
It does. Why can't we do the 2014 playoff, but it's the play-in games like we talked about? I actually like that. And we said it's a 2014 playoff, but I actually like that better.
Built into the regular season. Yeah.
I actually like that. I understand it's still a 2014 playoff, but it's allocated differently, ergo I liked it better. Not everything has to make sense. I know it's coming, so can we at least try to preserve something of something at some point so it's beyond just the playoffs, so we're just like every other sport under God's hot sun, which is what it's turning into. All right. Real quick. Let me see. Yeah. We'll have some fun today. We got the 4 clips. Josh Pate's actually we'll play that clip where he talks about be careful with college football. We'll get to that, though. Let's start off the top. All right, give a shout out to some sponsors. As a former Husker and NFL player, ladies and gentlemen, you might know a bit of a health nut. Hydration recovery, they do start at home. Make sure you team up with Culligan of Lincoln. Soft water means better showers, cleaner dishes, and protects your water heater and appliances. Their high-efficiency softener cuts salt and water usage. For drinking, make sure you add a Culligan reverse osmosis. It's like bottle-quality water right at your tap. It has great taste, and it's certified to reduce tough contaminants like lead and PFAs. Right now, you can get up to $300 off of a whole home system or just $9.95 a month. Just $9.95 a month. It's a great deal for your first 3 months. Schedule your free Water test at CulliganHuskers.com. Again, that's CulliganHuskers.com. Culligan of Lincoln, water you love. Go Big Red. All right, man. Steve Sipple this morning on the ticket, early break. And I actually just shared this on social media. Said, and I quote, I got a text from an official talking about Mike Eckler, the potential of going to USC, staying at Nebraska, potential of going to USC. And I quote, I got a text from an official. Here's the deal. It could get done. It's not done. End quote. Now, the CBS report last night basically came out and said it seems like it's likely he's going to USC. It's not done yet. When you hear that, like when we play that Matt Rule clip yesterday, it sounds like they're just basically preparing for if and when he does go. Well, this is the plan we have. This is the coaches we have. It sounds like they're preparing. You learn a few things yesterday from people we chat with. Doesn't seem promising. You see the CBS report last night. He's likely going. There's a little bit of encouragement there with Sip, at least via the text he got. Hey, it's not done yet. It could be done. So there's a little bit of encouragement there. Throughout this whole process and where we're at now, what are your thoughts at this moment in time there, Jake?
Well, first of all, I'm interested in this, like this movement that seems to happen. The same thing happened with Dylan, where it's like an official report from CBS or like a very good source that says likely, like this is likely happening. Like that's weird news. That's still kind of in the middle, right? So you kind of want something when it's finalized, all that sort of stuff. But I think that with everything and the way it is, the trajectory of this thing is that he probably will be gone. And then so from there, you kind of do your own battle that we've been talking about the last, several days with it, is that it's frustrating because, again, there's just very few strengths I see from the team bleeding over into this season. And obviously when you get blown out the last couple games, it's going to be hard to see those strengths, but the few strengths that they did have, I don't know if they're kind of sticking around, right? I mean, special teams, it's going to be kind of, okay, let's see what it looks like without Eckler. Right? Even the pass defense, okay, things weren't great with that defense last year, but at least they had that figured out. And now you've got, new people in command there. So, the hope is that behind closed doors and even, that none of this stuff is necessarily going to win the offseason for Nebraska, but they're making the right picks and they're bringing the people along that are going to be able to turn this around. But again, to me, I think it's getting further and further. This doesn't happen often, as we know, in Nebraska. It's getting further and further away from trying to sell me that so far Nebraska's won the offseason, which is a strange feeling.
What is it? 10 years, 11, 15, 20 years in a row, offseason national champs?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to win it this year. Maybe that means more wins in the fall on the season.
Could be.
Is that how that works? Maybe that's how it works. Maybe it's how it's not. You have some conversations yesterday, or we did, and it just seemed even less and less likely even after the show was over yesterday that things were going to get worked out. You never know what's going to happen. I will say this. Hopefully he stays. I think what's tough is you get better in the run defense 3 years ago, and then you take a gigantic step back. You struggle in the pass defense 2 years ago, and then you get much better last year. And yeah, John Butler shouldn't be the defensive coordinator, but you lose the guy who architected and we got Addison still here, to be clear. But that was kind of Butler's forte, was the secondary. And again, Addison's still here. You got a resurgence in the special teams. We don't know. And then, Tony White, and it's a different circumstance. Defense plays better. The strength of the team, not here. It seems like we're getting better, but we don't retain. You know what I mean? Is it like a Jenga piece? Like is this a good metaphor? Like you fill one hole, but you pull it out, and then there's another hole, and then you're trying to build up top as you're going. It's like Jenga, but the whole thing's wobbly because you never really built the thing at the bottom to begin with. And in Jenga, you obviously have to take the bottom out. But actually, you want to start at the top. Key to the game. I'm not very good at it, but key to the game. So you actually keep the foundation. Again, I don't know if that's a perfect metaphor, but my point is it's hard to build something strong structurally if you keep having to replace things. And it is, it's a day and age of college football where, unfortunately, this is not an uncommon occurrence. It just seems like every time we have nice things, the nice things don't stay. You know what I mean? Why can't we have nice things, Jake? Jake, I want nice things. Give me nice things, and let me keep them.
Well, I do think, by the way, your metaphor earlier that you've said is the holes in the boat. I think that's kind of that's stuck with me. That kind of feels like, right, there's different holes in the boat. Matt's plugging them here and there, and then there's other holes come out now. So that's kind of the metaphor I've been feeling with. But again, I mean, look at Nebraska basketball this past year, where their top 4 scorers weren't on the team last year. I mean, part of this is the nature of the game of college football, of college sports now, and it feels a little bit unfamiliar. But I mean, the biggest thing, again, to me, is the momentum that you don't have going into the offseason. What did we last see you at? And so going through all of this when we don't feel good about where they left off, that's where it can be kind of frustrating.
To the Nebraska basketball point, they only have one returning starter, Sam Hoiberg. Again, we sat here at the end of last basketball season, and we're like, oh, look at everyone they're losing. Next year could be rough. And then they started to add this piece, and Rick Mask comes back, and this piece, and Hoiberg's coming back at least, and then Jamarcus Lawrence is in a roundabout way coming back, because he went elsewhere and came back, and it's like, next year could be pretty exciting. I think the issue I'm struggling with football right now is, all right, this goes. What are we filling that with? Who do we have coming back? We have a large portion of the players coming back. I mean, Keona Davis is in the portal. Dylan is gone. I still think we upgraded a quarterback in the room as a whole from adding a freshman quarterback who's got wheels, man. Daniel Kalen, Anthony Calandria, TJ Lateef. Whoever earns that starting job, which whoever earns it. Let's say it's Anthony Calandria. I got to be honest. I think he's probably going to play better than what we got from Dylan the past 2 years, who, by the way, is not going to start where he's at now. Story for another day. It's got to be weird to be a 2-year starter and then you go sit or whatever. We'll see how that all plays out. And then, Dante Moore could technically stay for 2 more years up there if he wanted to. I doubt if he does, but we'll see what happens. There was somebody floated to me that he might be getting paid $7.5 million to stay at Oregon. There was, I had the exact stat earlier, about 20% of the amount of players heading early to the NFL draft this year versus in 2021 when the portal really got going. There was 5 times as many players that year. So only about 20% as many players are actually heading early to the NFL draft. People are staying. First of all, eligibility, I am jealous of this, never runs out anymore. So you can stay forever. I just talked about a kid the other day who's on a 7 school in 7 years. So you can transfer, you can play forever, and you can make way more money. The goal almost becomes to see how long you can stay in college football. You can almost make, depending on who you are, more money per year in college football than you can per year in the NFL, unless you're one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. Oh. The other thing I said was building the plane while you're flying it, which is absolutely terrifying to me. Do you feel like that sometimes? Like we're building the plane while we're flying it?
Certainly feels like that. Again, I think that's where it kind of feels going into year 4 because I don't know what the plane is supposed to look like, right? I mean, it's kind of like changing and, so I think we're changing the direction of which airplane we're building while we're flying.
Oh, we got on a whole new plane. Did we jump from one plane to the other in midair? Is this a crazy movie? I hadn't even thought about it that way. That's terrifying to me on multiple levels. I just got a text. It's hard to sail a ship when you are stuck in port patching holes. It's another good way of looking at it. All right. Now, hopefully X stays. And hopefully I'm jumping for joy somewhere when I find out about this. But if, God forbid, he does go. Rule mentioned in the clip we played yesterday in the interview. All right. Was that Gelb? Guys on staff like Josh Martin, Nick Humphrey, also Brett Maurer. Now, it seems like Josh Martin might be the heir apparent, potentially, if we need a new special teams coordinator. Special teams coordinator at SMU a couple of years. He was with Eck at Tennessee. You want to talk about understanding the system, understanding how they implement it, understanding how the X's and O's work, which was nothing too complicated, and Eck even talked about that. It's kind of like that would be the plan. Let me throw something out there, and I know the answer is no. I just like the idea. It's like when you throw something out there. All right. Does your wife listen to the show?
Occasionally.
She listening today?
I do not know. We will learn later, I assume.
Have you ever thrown something out there knowing you won't have to do it, but you just want credit for offering in life or as a husband or as anything else? Like, yeah, I'd be sure. I'd be happy to. No, honey, I got, okay, thanks. Yeah. Well, I offered, so you want the credit without actually having to do it?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
My son does that all the time. It's very annoying. He doesn't even try to hide it. He does it so often. He's got to get better at it. I don't know. I'm just going to throw this out there. It's not that I want credit for it. That just popped into my head. The answer is going to be no if Eck goes. What about the guy who sits here 5 mornings a week for 3 hours a day? The last defensive coordinator to beat Iowa is that guy that sits here.
That's right.
The last guy to turn around our special teams before Eck did it was the guy that sits here. What's his name? Steve Zippel?
Yeah.
Jake?
You're talking about Sip, right?
Is it Sip? Is it Jake? Who is it?
There's another guy there.
Yeah, Bill Bush. Just a possibility. I know it's not going to happen. All right. Just an interesting concept. But we'll see how this all plays out. When you look at the some of the portal visitors that are coming in this weekend, I think there's one more here. All right, 2027. This is cornerback Duvet Williams, 2027 4-star cornerback Duvet Williams. Are set to return to Nebraska at the end of the month. The end of the month, Huskers Junior Day recruiting weekend, January 31st through February 1st. All right, he's a top 40 prospect, number 4 cornerback nationally. So that is again at the end of the month. Randomly, Jalen Lloyd did commit to Florida. Was there any hope that he might come back here in your mind, or was it kind of like probably not at that point?
Probably not. That's good to see him land at a school like that, though.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for him. He reminds me a little bit of Kenneth Williams in the aspect of a little bit under the radar, local kid, really kind of discovered just because of the speed, maybe even at a track meet, and then shows what he can do on the football field. And you got to credit Matt Rule for kind of spotting those two guys. You know what I mean? So you got to give him credit there. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. So final thoughts on the Eckler update. It seems likely that he may be going back to USC. He was there under Lane Kiffin years ago, potentially to coach a position group as well. I do know that matters to him. That's something he would like to do. It's something he did at Tennessee. He coached special teams. He coached outside linebackers. And that's something you can do as a special teams coordinator. It's much harder to do it as a general coordinator. Special teams is a third of the game, but there is a little bit of extra time that is available, and we'll see what happens there. We kind of have an idea of who, if Eck does go, hopefully he stays. Again, I'd be jumping for joy. If that is the news, I'll be crying like a 2-year-old if that is not the news. But Josh Martin, Nick Humphrey, Brett Maher, those are the guys that have been mentioned, probably the guys that would step up and fill that role. So is there anything off the text line real quick, Jake?
Yeah, there's a few different thoughts. 4037 says, I would love to see Bill Bush back on staff. 1611 asks, is getting most of our roster back a win? 7-6 win with 3 blowout losses to end the year, and you're watching playoff teams. Their players, their roster don't look like ours. So it's getting our entire roster back, or a lot of it, a good thing. I'm going to go with not really, not to mention the D-line or lack thereof, coupled with the fact that our coach gets out coached 93.7% of the time. I like that number.
I like that too. Nice pull right there. So I said at the end of the year, if you're not going to have, and they're trying to add to that 2026 recruiting class, obviously they put a ton of time and effort, I assume money, into the 2027 class. But if you're not going to have more players in the 2026 class, you're not going to have a higher rated 2026 class, which again, it's about what you do once they're in the building, more so than who they are when they walk through the door. Then you've got to do a couple of things. You've got to retain the current young roster that you have. Again, the youngest team in the Big Ten. You've got to retain that roster, because otherwise you're not bringing in high school guys. You're not retaining the youth you have. Do you know Oregon's had 25 guys hit the portal since the Peach Bowl, by the way? Man, it's crazy. You got to restock an entire team every year sometimes. I do think it's good because Isaiah Hunter coming back. He announced yesterday he was coming back. I got to imagine he's going to be better next year than he was this year. He was an underclassman. Same with Ja'Cory Barney. Same with, some of these defensive linemen that were incredibly young and experienced. They were a little lighter. You get another offseason in the weight room. You get that year of experience now. Hopefully, in this 4-man line, it's going to suit them better. They were undersized, and then you go to the 3-man line. That's just tough. Most 3-man lines are if you're an end, 3-4, you're 6'4", 6'6", light end, 305. Like, I was 305 in Washington, D.C. as the starting left end in a 3-4, and my D-line coach constantly told me I was on the light end. He wanted me 325. I said, sir, do you want me to move, or you want me to just be a gigantic rock? He's like, rock, take on double teams. I was like, I'd like to move. And so the deal I made with Coach Bernie was, if I ever start to get moved around, I'll put on weight. He never came back to me and said, put on weight. So obviously, but my point is undersized. So you go to a 4-man line. Hopefully the size fits better. But we still got to have that nose guard. You've got to have a guy in the middle of the defense. They can plug up the middle of the defense. They can take on the double teams at the center and the guard and everything else. I don't know that he's currently on the roster unless somebody puts on a bunch of healthy weight, which is hard to do and maintain their speed. So that's why they're trying to bring in all these guys this weekend via the portal. So if you're not going to have a big high school class, you got to retain who you've got. You got to develop them. You got to get them bigger, faster, stronger in the offseason. You got to develop them on the football field. You would like to think that they'd be better coming back. And then you got to have a really good portal class. If I'm being honest with you, 16 portal guys, if you go by the rankings, it's not that highly rated. But if you bring in the right guys at the right spot, 3 offensive linemen, a couple of quarterbacks, a high school quarterback who averages 14.4 yards per carry, almost 2,500 rushing yards. Makes quick decisions. Now, he's got to work on some fundamentals, technique. He likes to do a lot of the RPOs. It's more like bootlegs out on the edge, and either I can run or pass with your typical RPO in the pocket out of the shotgun, but he likes to get out on the edge, which is a little bit different, which means he's not used to being in the pocket. Young guy, teach him that. He's got the wheels. He's got the quick decision-making, because without on the edge, he decides quick, but you got to be able to do that in the pocket. But you got a good young high school quarterback. You got Latif, who's back with a bright future. You got Danny Kalen, who I just loved. You got Anthony Calandria. So I do feel like if you bring in the right guys at the right spots, that can matter. You want a random stat before we go to the break?
Yeah.
You know the 2001 Miami Hurricanes had more first-round draft picks on that team alone than Indiana's had in their football program's history combined. Who would you take? Let's say Indiana beats Miami on Monday, 10 points. Doesn't even have to be a drudging. 16-0. Only one other college football team in history. It's like 18-something Yale. I talked about it last week on the show. I don't have the graphic in front of me. So only the second team in college football history going undefeated. Would you take Indiana or 2001 Miami if they played head-to-head, if this could hypothetically happen? Then we'll go to break.
I'd probably still lean 2001 Miami, but I always mention that when the 2001 Miami versus Nebraska argument, you do kind of have, I mean, Larry Coker is the head coach. So, I mean, I would take Cignetti over Coker, don't get me wrong.
Fair.
And then that quarterback, which I often argue for the Nebraska argument, is Frazier versus Ken Dorsey. Same thing here, Mendoza versus Ken. So I might take 01 Miami. That tells you how much talent they had around him, despite, I think, the better head coach and quarterback is on Indiana.
You know what's interesting about that 01 Miami team? I will readily admit, most talented college football team in history. But when you talk about best, Nebraska beat 4 top 10 teams in 95. Average margin of victory of over 30 points. And the one team that came the closest, ironically, that year was Washington State out of nowhere, 14 points. Okay, back when they were in the Pac-10, Power 5 conference team. Miami, again, they beat an 8-win Virginia Tech team, 8-win by 2 points. They beat an 8-win Boston College team. They needed a pick 6. They were up by 2. Boston College is in the red zone, 30 seconds left. They were going in to score. They needed a pick 6 from Ed Reed to take it all the way back to the house. They ended up winning by 9. Like, it's about not just the talent, it's about the results on the field. They went undefeated, but we're not talking undefeated. We're talking dominance. And to me, I would take 95 Nebraska. Oh, man. What was interesting about that Miami team is they had like 3 first-round running backs. What's funny is they're not all on the field at the same time. So you can talk about 3 first-round running backs, but only one's on the field. So they were stacked deep. But the team as a whole was really, really good, but they couldn't all be on the field at once because some of them were really young, some of them were really old, and I think that's why some of those games were closer than people remember sometimes. All right, so one of the best ever. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep the clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street, online at doubleeagle.golf. Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle. If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with a bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G165184. 2,500 down with proof credit.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We got a visitor, we got a guest, but before I bring on one of my big brothers, Husker brother here, we do got to give a shout out to Mulberry Barbecue. It's the noon hour, and you fine folks know what that means. It's time for Mulberry Barbecue. Go grab some lunch. They got 2 locations, 11th and Cornhusker, 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. I've told Jake, it's like 8 minutes from my house. This is a real problem because it's so delicious. It's not a problem. It's a blessing. You just got to be smart, but it is absolutely delicious. They got burnt end sandwich, brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, full slab of ribs, half smoked chicken, and much, much more, plus incredible sides. Get fueled for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue, located 11th and Cornhusker and 61st and Apples Way, just off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. All right. A guy I used to look up to when I was a youngster, a guy who's heavily involved in teammates now, black shirt, Husker guy, Husker legend, Mr. Des Moines Adams. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. You know, you got me hungry talking about all that barbecue. So did you say Highway 2? Where is it at again?
Let me see here. I only say it every day, but I say it so fast. Right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's.
I'm headed there right after we get done. You made that sound so good, especially coming from Powell, Arkansas, where real barbecue is originated.
Dude, it's delicious. It's good stuff. I love to pile on the barbecue sauce, like no matter what. This is a place where you go, and I'll put a little bit. You don't need much. Like, it's already so good.
Yeah. Hey, real barbecue don't need barbecue sauce.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's delicious, man. All right, dude. So a couple of thoughts. I want to chat about teammates, the Go for Two initiative that you guys have going on. But let's talk real quickly. I don't know how much you keep up to speed with what's going on in modern-day college football and the Huskers. We got a new defensive coordinator, new D-line coach, a lot of new going on. What are your thoughts on, brief thoughts on the season last year, heading into next year with some of the changes that have been made?
I think success takes time. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time. I just think that we are still used to the good old days, but these are new days. These are new times. And I'm a firm believer that nothing changes if nothing changes. And so the changes that have been made are to hopefully get us into the new glory days. But I do see progress year by year from Coach Matt Rhule.
So what progress have you seen kind of from year 1 to year 2, year 3, potentially going into year 4?
As a defensive guy, I would say over the last decade or so, I haven't been, I would say, impressed with the defense. And then offense. And so I would say offense, I have been impressed with us getting points on the board and things like that. The defense, that's what I look at. There's definitely some work that needs to be done on that end. But offensively, we struggle to just score and get the ball in the end zone. I've seen Matt make some improvements in that area. Now, once we take care of this defense, I think we'll be ready to compete next year.
What are your thoughts on, because I've always said 3-4, 4-3, it's not that big a deal to me. Obviously, we were like 3-3-5 and then a hybrid of it. Now we're going to a 4-2-5, a 4-man line. Do you think it's a big deal going from 3-man line to 4-man line? And what are your thoughts? Because obviously we were more 4-3 ends type guys, rush ends. Again, when I first got here, they were called rush ends. I think we chatted about this last time you were on the show.
Yeah.
And for some reason we dropped that term. We should have kept that term. By the way, I got to be careful to say rush ends. Somebody thought I was talking about Russia, like rush ends. No, rush ends. Like we rushed the quarterback. Got to enunciate that. All right.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on 3-man line, 4-man line? Is it that big a deal? And being a guy getting after the quarterback, obviously you did that a lot. What are the keys to us doing that a little bit more efficiently?
It makes a huge deal. I love the fact that we're going to go back to this 4-man front. The question is, I'll be curious to see if these are defensive ends or if these are ends that are trained to rush the quarterback. I'm a big component of putting pressure on these quarterbacks. These Big Ten teams, they're passing, but they're also running. And so I think back in our day, we were capable of rushing, but also collapsing the pocket and making sure that no one gets outside of us. And so I think it makes a huge difference to have 3 defensive linemen not getting a pass rush or being able to stop the run. my hope that this will be a solution to stopping the run game, but actually getting a rush on the quarterback.
You said something that hurt my feelings back in my day. I don't want to hear that when you talk about us, man. Don't say that. But, okay, so for folks, you kind of just explained it a little bit, but what is the difference between being a defensive end and someone who is a defensive end but rushes the quarterback? Like, what's the difference in the mindset and how you approach things?
I would say that defensive end needs to have speed. Their job is not to wrestle around and play patty cake with that tackle. It's to get to that edge, whether do a rip or do a spin, and you are collapsing the pocket. Whether you beat that guy in front of you or you push that guy in front of you, we were just as fast as running backs. So
you hear that? You hear that?
We were literally running 4.5s in the 40.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between a 4.5 rush end that got the job done versus a defensive end that runs a 4.8, 4.9, 5 flat. It makes a huge difference when you have speed, and you're seeing it in a lot of these bowl games where you are seeing pretty sure no one in the country are calling their defensive ends rush ends like they did with us, but you are seeing the difference that those ends are making because they have speed, they have tenacity, they have this grit, and nothing is going to get outside of them. That's that ownership, that's that pride. This is my side, and my hope is that leadership will also come from these changes that are being made, not just from the coaching, but from the players. We as former players, we were the leaders. We held each other accountable. I don't believe that that's solely on the coaches. I think there needs to be leadership from the players.
So I've always thought that the coaches are more directors. The players, the veteran players, need to be the leaders. Exactly. Coaches direct you where to go, players lead. Like when I'm in the huddle with a guy and I can see he's exhausted, maybe there's blood all over or a little trickle here and mud all over, and he's like going through the same thing I am, and he's looking at me and telling me to get going. It just resonates a little bit more. Like a coach can do that and it means something, but it resonates more when somebody right next to you going through the same stuff you're going through basically says, let's go. You're going through the same stuff I am, and I need to pick it up because I see what you're going through and you're still going. I loved the term rush ends because the moment I stepped foot on campus, it told me what my job was.
Yeah.
Like nobody had to tell me. I knew we're called rush ends. Nobody else in the country was calling it at that point in time rush ends. Like this is what your job is, to get after the quarterback. But a question I have, because we struggled to stop the run last year. Okay. And I played for a few different defensive coordinators, obviously, in the league as well. Steve Spagnuolo with the Chiefs, Giants, won, I think, 5 different Super Bowls as a D coordinator. When he became the head coach for the Rams for a couple of years, he told me something that I'd never heard before. 1st down and 10. It didn't matter. It could be 3rd and 10, 1st and 10. He said, play the run on the way to the quarterback. And I was like, what? Because it was always you had your run responsibility, your gap integrity, which I still believe in. He's like, no, go get to the quarterback, play the run on the way to the quarterback. Now, granted, he's the only D coordinator I've ever heard tell me that. But he's had some success as well. So if we're rushing after the quarterback like that, how does that work with stopping the run, in your opinion?
Between offense and defense, they're proactive. Defense, successful defenses have to be proactive and reactive. So when you were coached to, play the run as you're rushing a quarterback, you have to be proactive and reactive. And I think for the Huskers to get back to playing black shirt defense, we have to have that mindset to still get the job done, but also get the job won. We have to beat that man in front of us, and then if needed, we need to do a swim move, and we need to help our man that's to the left of us, help our linebackers. Getting the job done is not enough. We need to get the job won, being proactive and reactive. That is what championship defenses look like.
All right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, I want to talk. I'm sure Jake's got a couple of questions for you, but I want to chat about teammates, the Go for Two initiative. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
The 2026 Love Nebraska season is underway, and professional volleyball is back in a big way. From powerful serves to game-changing rallies, every match brings elite competition to the court. See some of the game's top athletes, including Lexi Rodriguez and Jordan Larson, compete right here in Nebraska. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the sport, there's a match for you this season. Explore the full schedule and plan your night out at lovbneb.com/schedule. There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. Shout out to our good partners and friends at Suizo Construction, where safety isn't just a policy, ladies and gentlemen, it is a promise. Suizo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work in a team that has your back both on and off the job site. Apply today at Suizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com. 40 years strong in business. Suizo Construction. Also, shout out to Hamilton Telecommunications, bringing you the latest in quality technology. Nobody does it better, ladies and gentlemen. A communications services that's been in business since 1901. Learn more about their residential and business services at HamiltonTel.com. That's HamiltonTel.com. All right, my man, let's talk about teammates. Let's talk about this Go for Two initiative. What do people need to know? How can they help with what you guys are trying to achieve and trying to accomplish here?
You know, Coach Osborne and his wife, Nancy, they are co-founders of Teammates Mentoring, which started almost 35 years ago, 1991. You know, his legacy, what he's done on the field, it's a great reminder that his first national championship that the Huskers went to was in 1984, this month. And if you, for those Husker fans, they were playing the Miami Hurricanes. It was when the Huskers scored. They had a chance to tie and essentially share the championship. But going back to your comment, coaches are directors. The players are the leaders. There was no question once they scored, the players said, hey, coach, what's the play?
Mm-hmm.
And that showed a lot of leadership. That showed a lot of character. That showed a lot of grit, not just from the players, but from coach. And even though we did not win, but that set the stage. You play the game to win. So what we're doing here with Teammates Mentoring as a way of honoring what coach did back in 1984, we have a campaign where we're asking people to give a donation to Teammates, any donation with the number 2 as a way of playing the game to win. We all go for 2. As a father, as a husband, I'm also a mentor. Coach, he's a mentor. We can all go for 2 by doing what we do at work, but giving the gift of time back into the community. But also we are asking for a gift so that we can sustain this organization that Tom and Nancy started almost 35 years ago.
I have a shirt. Every time I interview a coach, I've got the Fumble Rooski shirt, but I've got the Real Men Go for 2 shirt.
Yeah.
And I wear that almost every time I interview him. That's my favorite call that he ever made. For those who don't remember, that's back before we had overtime. So either you were going to tie and it was 31-30, either you were going to tie and they would have won the national championship because Miami already had a loss.
Yeah.
And Nebraska would have just had a tie, would have been on Miami's home field. They would have been voted national champs. You don't want to win it that way. He wanted to win it outright, went for 2. I've actually asked him about that play. He said he knew what coverage they were going to run. It was man coverage. They got the man coverage. They had the right play for whatever reason. And he knows all the Miami players' names to this day. But one guy came off of his guy, and that's why there was a deflection on the pass, because the receiver was actually open. Yeah. But for some reason, he came off his guy in man coverage and got in the way. But kind of a cool story. But I love, and I love that he went for it. It's actually my favorite call he ever made, even though he didn't win. Obviously, would have been better had we won, but I still love the call. All right, what else do folks need to know about Teammates itself? Obviously, donating with the number 2 in it. Where can they go? How can they do this?
Yeah, you can go to teammates.org and then you can type in going for 2 in the search bar. You can also go to our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. This campaign ends on February the 3rd, but it's a great way for you to go for 2 by not only honoring what Coach Osborne means to this state and to so many people as it relates to his legacy on the field, but what he is doing off the field. So go for 2 by supporting Teammates by teammates.org and make that gift, any gift with the number 2. And this helps one student, one mentor, one relationship, because that's what we're trying to do when it comes to inspiring young people to reach their full potential through mentoring.
Help make an impact in some young person's life, young people's lives, whatever you're capable of doing. Jake, you got any questions for Demo? And then we got NFL play. Should we do an NFL pick'em real quick while Demo's here with us?
Yeah,
you got a question for him first?
Oh, real quick, your final season, 2002. Much maligned jerseys. I loved the away whites. What did you think of the jerseys? Do you think they were a mistake?
I don't. I'm not one of those folks to where, we were cursed. And, of course, the very next year, they went back to the old school.
Yeah,
but I love the white on white when we went to Penn State. Let's not talk about the result of that game. But I love the white on white. I love just the stripe. It was something different. It was something cool.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, alternate uniforms. What are your thoughts on this? I'm just like, just go play football. I don't care what you're wearing, but I'm also a lineman. Skill guys might see it differently. Maybe you see it like I do. Maybe you see it differently. What are your thoughts on this alternate uniform thing?
If we're not winning, let's not do it.
All right.
I got to be honest. I was embarrassed when we had the blackout game, black end zone, black end. I wore my black. I took my son there, and we lost. It was embarrassing as a former black shirt. So if we're going to do that stuff, we got to win. Like, not just win, like, we got to dominate. Otherwise, I'm like you. Just put your jersey on, put your helmet on, go out and play. I know there's tons of cool projects. People want to look good. No, look ugly, look mean. Go out there and win. Play the game and get the job won. And so, to your point, I don't really care about all of that stuff, but if we're going to do it, you better win.
Dude, spoken like a true trenches D lineman right there. I could not agree with you more. All right. Coach Osmore's going to be closing out our camp, the Carriker Chronicles football camp. If you're interested, you can go. He'll be the guest speaker closing it out. Brendan Stye, Terrell Farley will be there. Eric Crouch, like 35-plus coaches. Go check it out, carrikerchronicles.com. If you're so inclined, it'll be July 8th this summer. All right, Jake, you got any other questions, or should we do a little bit of NFL pick'em here?
Well, let's get to the pick'em.
All right. Who you got?
Let's start off with Buffalo at Denver. This will be Saturday. $460 to get in. Denver favored by 1.5.
I got the Bills. This is Josh's year. Now that Mahomes is out, Jalen is out, this is the year for Josh to go ahead and get his Super Bowl.
So it's usually easy. I feel like it's easy to pick the teams that are going to get to the AFC, NFC championships, like follow the quarterbacks, Lamar, Patrick, even before, like, Patrick was out, unfortunately with an injury, but the Chiefs were out, the Ravens were out, and I'm just like, the Bills are a 6 seed. Why do I feel like, yeah, I got them going to the Super Bowl? I also took the Rams with 17-year vet Matthew Stafford out of the NFC. I'm going to take the Bills in this one. I got the Bills too.
All right, let's stay on Saturday. San Francisco at Seattle, $436 to get in. 7.5-point favorites are the Seahawks.
I got the Seahawks. I love what Sam Darnold is doing. He plays like he has a chip on his shoulder. His start in NFL was a little rocky, but what he's doing in Seattle, what I see this chip. I am going to prove so many people wrong, and I love it.
Did you know that there's parking spot tickets for the national title game in Miami? They're going for $900,000.
Just to park?
Yeah, just to park. Somebody sent me a graphic the other day. They were trying to buy parking tickets. They're like, is this real? I'm like, it's not my money, but it looks real to me. I will say this, the 12th man, Seattle's 12th man. The 12th man in A&M is real, okay? But the loudest stadium I ever played in the NFL was the Seahawks. They're a divisional rival, being at the Rams.
Wow.
So I played there multiple times. They were the loudest stadium. I am going to take, the 49ers are just beat up. And then they lose their tight end as well. And so I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one.
All right, let's go to Sunday's action. Houston at New England, $266 to get in. Patriots favored by 3.
This is a tough one because defense wins championships. However, the Texans are beat up. They got a lot of guys that are hurt, that are injured. I want to go with Texans because their defense is what helped them to beat the Steelers. But I think the Patriots are going to win it because they are the team that is healthy.
All right, I'm going to take the Patriots as well. I just think they're a pretty good football team this year, although the Texans' defense makes me nervous.
All right, final game, Rams at Bears, $361 to get in. LA favored by 3.5 Sunday night.
It's the Rams, and I got the Rams and the Bills in the Super Bowl. Stafford is doing great work, and I got the Rams.
We're in the same Super Bowl. We did not talk before this, by the way. Again, I said Rams and Bills, so I'm going to take Stafford, the 17-year vet, the guy they ran out of Detroit. He's going to win 2 Super Bowls. I don't know if he's going to win, but he's going to get to another Super Bowl, his 3rd one, maybe win his 2nd one since he left Detroit. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me, my man.
Yeah.
Check out Teammates. If you can, help out with the Go for 2 initiative. Until next time, have a glorious weekend. Go Big Red. And always remember, throw the bone.
An emergency can happen any moment. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go